Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, young men, young women. Welcome to another edition of Speak Your Mind. My name is John Lewis, and I'm your host for tonight. Unfortunately, my co-host, or Mr. De Castro, is unable to be with us tonight. I am going to invite you to sit back, relax, and be prepared for a treat. Normally, I'll have another guy with me, but tonight I have a pretty young lady, and I won't say like most people which is she needs no introduction. I would say she will be introduced at the point when it is appropriate. But many years ago, we had, way back in 1968, I'm told, we had a hotel association. And this was maintained primarily because the young hotel industry at the time needed a body that will represent its views and activities. And then at the same time, we had the Chamber of Commerce, which championed the causes and the programs of the commercial sector. Later on, we realized that we can get more bang for our buck if we joined the two groups together, and we ended up with the Hotel Association and Chamber. And we now have this fancy name, Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association. Now, we have been moving along over the last 40-something years, and now we want to change gears. For those of you who are into cycling, or for those of you who are following international elections, you would hear the expression, you want changes. And so it is my belief, after a meeting that was called at Marriott's by the Sea Hotel and Restaurant last Monday night, that we are now in for a change. And to talk about that change tonight is Miss Shana Smith. Welcome, Shana.
Thank you, John.
Shana is the Vice President of the BVI Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association. I have a number of questions for Shana, and I'm hoping that at the end of our program, those of you who are not members will become members, because the association is now poised to give you more value. Shana, what is the value of the BVI CCHA?
The BVI Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association is to be basically the voice of business in the territory. And one of the things that we are looking at doing, primarily one main function would be for advocacy. So we're talking about, we have a business environment, and there are policies, there's legislations, there are a lot of different types of activities and things that affect business. And what we hope to do or planning to do is to have a collective voice, where whether we're speaking to our consumers or employees or to government around issues, or even putting forward new ideas and initiatives in terms of how to make business more successful. Because what we see happening is that the economy or economic growth comes through business growth, new business expansion. All these things, when we talk about the economic or the socio-economic development of our territory, comes through businesses primarily. So it's very important that businesses now come together as a unit and understand our role in the development of our country.
Okay. If you paid attention to what's being happening locally, especially coming out of the House of Assembly, where you have government bringing initiatives without input from the businesses they pretend to represent. Is this, would this not have been a role for the chamber, giving input, giving advice, guiding the whole process?
Definitely. I had a conversation along those lines actually this week in regards to 2016 has been a very impactful year, I would say, because we started off with the increase in terms of operating costs because of the introduction of the national health insurance. Then we heard about the minimum wage increase, and that came in last month. In between there, we've had I think it's the change with the tax on custom duty, as well as
cigarettes and alcohol
and hotel
tobacco.
alcohol, plus the accommodation tax. So there's a lot of changes there in terms of things that directly affect the operating costs of businesses on some level. So even if you don't sell alcohol and cigarettes, definitely the insurance and the minimum wage has affected many of our businesses. So those are things that we would like to see more consultation on. In my time, our board has just been elected this year, so this is a new board with some new faces. Some are returning members as far as directors, but we would like to see the chamber have a more active role in terms of consultation with the government, consultation even with businesses, to make sure that that feedback is going up to our policymakers to better understand the impact that it's going to have on businesses when new policies go into place. Because we understand there's going to be growing pains with anything, but it's very important that there's education and awareness around any changes.
If during the whole process there is talk about these changes, does the Chamber and Hotel Association reach out to government? And in the reaching out process, what kind of reaction do you get?
Well, in the past, I know, say for example, the chairman may have had discussions with the premier or whoever the relevant stakeholders are. But what we want to ramp up, so to speak, is to actually do green papers or have forums where, let's say, for example, we'll have the government stakeholders come to present directly to members, and we have that dialogue, that direct conversation. And if we need to go back and document now in terms of saying, okay, this is the position of the Chamber of Commerce representing its members' views on, an increase in tax. And these are the reasons why we either support or oppose it, or these are the amendments that we think should be made to make it better.
Okay. I got into the whole question of policy making without even realizing that the formulation of policy cannot be done entirely by government. If this is the premise on which I'm going to ask the question, shouldn't it be prudent for coming together of these two bodies so that at the end of the day, you don't go back to the House of Assembly making these willy-nilly changes? Because I can remember one member of the House saying, in whose interest are we doing these things? And if we had the community through the chamber making the representation, then the answer could have been simply for the people.
And then there'd be evidence that conversation was had and these were the views expressed. So that is definitely one of the things that we want to actually have a quarterly meeting. We presented the strategic agenda, and that was one of the things that we definitely have clearly mapped out as far as saying having a quarterly stakeholder forum. So we have a list of topics that we want to discuss. So say, for example, access to the destination, whether it's air or by sea. That's one of the topics that we feel that we need to get involved in the discussion, because again, businesses are involved in this. It's not just a government problem or a port authority problem or tourist board problem.
It's
but
our problem.
It's our problem. It's affecting everybody. And as a result of that, you know, we want to be on the front line in terms of resolving some of the issues that we have. We talk about things like telecommunications, and again, how that is affecting all businesses. So it's not just about hospitality or financial services, but we want to make sure that it is a broad scope, because the business community consists of what we call micro businesses, which may consist of just one person, up to the company that, you know, is employing hundreds of people. And everybody needs to have that opportunity now to have their interests represented, because in a lot of cases, all of us are affected by similar issues. You know, some places some industries may have their own nuances, but for the most part, when you're in business, everybody has to watch their costs, everybody's looking about profit, everybody wants to know they have a good labor force locally available that they can tap into. So there are a lot of common, you know, themes that bind us together as a business community that we want us to rally around and, you know, make for a successful economy at the end of the day. Because if the economy is doing good, it means that the businesses are doing good and the country is doing good.
Recently, I've been hearing talk about the cost of the greenhouse project that we started some years ago now being finalized. Isn't this a good point at which government can come to the chamber and say, listen, folks, this is where we're at. Can you give us some indication as where we can go? Yes, they may have a position already, but perhaps the question of training of local personnel or knowing similar businesses out there that can be of assistance to us without it costing us an arm and a leg. Isn't this something that the Chamber of Commerce, even if government hasn't approached it, isn't there something that you and your folks can say to the minister or to the premier, listen, here is something that we'd like to work with?
Well, we definitely would be interested in hearing what the government's position is in terms of the operating plan and what business opportunities there might be, whether it's for new businesses or existing businesses to get involved in and know, you know, what direction we're going forward with that important project.
Okay, but oftentimes people will tell me, oh, I have to wait until government makes the approach. And sometimes it is the right approach to take. But here you have not only a micro enterprise, but a macro enterprise. So for me, it may be prudent for the Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association to
ask the question,
to put its own little group together,
okay,
analyze it, and then say, listen, here's what we've done. This may be of interest to you. And then it gives government an opportunity now to look at what the chamber has produced and then put the two papers on the table and say, okay, this is what we've done, this is what you've done, there are synergies here. Or perhaps what you've done doesn't quite meet what government wants to do. And then in turn, we can say, okay, but have you considered water production? Have you considered training of your young men and women? So that at some point, not only do they become the producers, but they become the owners of production. Now, having said my little mouthful, what's your response?
Well, definitely, this is something in line with what, you know, the new modus operandi we want to have. So there's nothing lost in going forward for us and saying, even initiating a conversation, I would say, to find out, you know, what the thought process is there as far as what are we going to do with those greenhouses, and make sure that, you know, all local businesses get first crack at it, so to speak. And, you know, see what the response is from there and continue the conversation around that.
Because the reality is we've had more than 7 years talking about this project, and we should have had trained personnel by now ready to go. But anyhow, we talked about the chamber, so let me get back to the chamber. Who are the members? What do they do? And whom do they represent?
Okay. So the Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association, we have a board of directors of 16 members, and those are business persons basically who are members of the association. Any business can become a member of the association. So there's no like specific criteria in terms of a size or type of industry or type of business. And every 2 years, our board is elected, and the structure, we have a chairman, and then we have two presidents, president of hospitality, president of business, and then they have vice presidents that work with them. So I'm the vice president to the president of business, and we have the vice president of hospitality, treasurer, and the remaining are general directors. And then we have an executive director and an executive assistant that works in the office in terms of executing the agenda. So once a year there's a general meeting, and this is where now, plans for the year are discussed, we get feedback. In between those meetings, we would have networking events, we would have business luncheons where we would have speakers come in and talk about different topics. And in the case of what we did on Monday, where we needed to have an extraordinary general meeting, which was opened up actually to past, present, and prospective members to come and hear the presentation about the strategic plan for the next 2 years that this board hopes to achieve in terms of what we're going to do going forward.
Lofty, what are the signature programs that this association puts on an annual basis?
Okay, so some of the things that the chamber may be known for is, first off, would be the annual trade show that usually takes place in the multi-purpose sports complex. And we also have our annual business awards gala that's coming up this month. We also have, in terms of membership benefits, we have a pension group plan, where again, as a member of the Chamber of Commerce, we have a structure such that you can sign up for the pension group, and that allows you a more cost-efficient and effective way to put a pension plan in place as required now by the labor code. We also have supplemental health insurance that's provided by NAGICO. So persons, again, if they need that for their companies or their businesses, they're able to participate in that as a member of the Chamber of Commerce.
Are there any special perks for membership to some of these programs?
Of course. So, like, say for example, the luncheons, we have a non-member and a member rate that you would have. Currently, right now, we're actually encouraging persons to sign up for 2017, but your membership benefits will actually take effect from this year when you're able to sign up. One of the things that I really want to mention that's kind of like a secret that we want to make sure put a lot more emphasis on in the coming years is the youth entrepreneurship. We have two programs that we run, one at the primary level, school level, and the other at the high school. They're called Junior Achievement Program and Our Nations Program. Another thing that persons may be familiar with that's associated with the Chamber is the Crime Stoppers Program. So that is also one of the programs that's been initiated over the years. And I cannot forget our National Culinary Team. That is also a program that is run by the Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association, where we send away a culinary team to compete at the Taste of the Caribbean every year.
Okay, I know you were getting into a role, but let's take a pause so that those who make this show possible can benefit from it.
No problem.
When we come
That's
back,
our business. I hope they're members.
we will talk more about the gala, the culinary team, and experience the British Virgin Islands in-house magazine. We'll be right back.
All right.
Police have gone right at the last left turn, you know.
Reggie, the directions I got to go straight.
Oh, you go and tell me about them stupid directions when the map is right here.
Let me see the map. Let me see the map, man.
So now you want to see the map?
Give me the map, man.
All right.
No, we passed there so already.
Oh.
Make a right, go 100 meters, and that's the destination.
Having Digicel data is like having the fastest man in the world save you from getting lost. Start using Digicel data today. Digicel.
Welcome to our newly renovated Botanic Service Station to serve you better and faster. We carry Sol gasoline, the best gas that will take you further and keep your engine running cleaner. To make that delicious meal at home or restaurant, we have LPGs from 20 pounds to 100 pounds, readily available for your easy pickup right here at Botanic Station. While you are here, check out our deli for finger-licking snacks from pizzas, hot wings, patties, cakes, all made fresh every day, and cold drinks that's always cold. Need oil for your vehicle? We carry a wide selection of vehicle maintenance products. We are open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily.
Here in the Virgin Islands, we are blessed to live and work in paradise. Paradise just doesn't mean our tranquil blue waters and green hills. National Bank of the Virgin Islands defines paradise as any place or condition that fulfills your aspirations. To me, paradise means knowing that I will have a financing partner when I'm ready to open my first business. I feel confident that I can manage whatever life throws my way because I know my bank will be with me every step of the way. That's why I choose National Bank of the Virgin Islands, the official bank of paradise.
My future's looking so bright, 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 with the official bank of paradise, paradise.
National Bank of the Virgin Islands, the official bank of paradise.
And what kind of party this?
Them they bring the music.
Seriously?
Having Digicel data is like having the fastest man in the world save you from party disasters. Start using Digicel data today. Digicel.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Just before we went to break, we talked about some of the signature programs that the Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association participates in during the course of a year. We were about to talk about the gala. We touched briefly on the culinary team, but there's one major program that we didn't talk about, the spring regatta.
Yes.
It is perhaps the single most economically productive activity we have one time a year. Talk to that, please.
Okay, so persons may not be aware, but the Chamber of Commerce has partnered over the years with the Royal Virgin Islands Yacht Club in terms of basically planning, organizing, and putting on the spring regatta every year. So this is definitely one of those programs, again, looking from a destination level in regards to promoting industry in the BVI, primarily, or marine tourism, because now we have yachters that come in from all over the world for a week. And this is something that is definitely, the visibility of this can't even be measured. You'll begin to look at it. And I think we celebrated 45 years?
45 years, yes.
The other day. So this has been a major event, as you refer to it, and something that we want to continue to grow, you know, every year, and getting more, again, local businesses involved in it at whatever level that they can. So that's very key.
Okay. And that brings us to the gala and the culinary team, because I see the gala as an activity that will recognize those businesses doing wonderfully well, and because they do well, then we also have to have good food.
It's almost, they go hand in hand, don't they? They go hand in hand.
If you don't have good food, what's the point of having a gala?
Yeah.
Talk to those things, please.
Okay, so the gala is the annual Business Awards Gala. It's going to be on the 19th of November. This year it's going to be over at Scrub Island Resort. And the theme is A Night in Paris. So every year we basically put out nomination cards to members asking them to nominate in various categories such as Business Person of the Year, Business of the Year in Commerce or in Hospitality, Pioneer of the Year, Green Award. It's about 10 different categories, I believe. And from those nominations then they're voted on, persons are voted, and they are presented with their awards at the night of the dinner. So the gala, as you're saying, is also one of those it has a twin purpose in terms of recognition for membership and even the community at large, as well as a fundraiser, because that's one of the key things in terms of with the chamber, where we basically are depending on membership for the most part for dues, and if we have sponsors for different events, that is how basically the business of the chamber is supported.
Okay. Now, before we get to your presentation that you made last Monday, the 1st of November, we have with us a copy of our signature booklet.
Yes.
And there it is.
This is the new one for 2017. So what this is if you've ever done a staycation, you would see this in the hotel rooms. And essentially, this is our version of, this is like, what do we compare this to? Actually, this is a bigger version of the Welcome. So this is a magazine that is actually produced, published with a company called HCP out of Florida and the Chamber. And persons would put in articles, persons can take out ads for their businesses. Again, any business has opportunity to advertise in this. And this is a way, they go far and wide as far as promoting the BVI and what we have to offer as a tourist destination.
I remember when I was involved with another organization at another time that I took as part of the team's giveaway, a whole ton of these.
Of those, yeah.
And it was an Olympic event, and you just gave those to people. And it's all well and good for us to think that, okay, so why do I need to tell people about the BVI? But it is the only way that we can show who we are, what we do, and give people that visual experience that would invite them, entice them into coming to the British Virgin Islands. And I can remember that there used to be a regional competition for the best cover.
Yeah.
And the BVI has won it on a number of occasions. But if you really need a copy, you don't have to go to a hotel for it. You can go by the Chamber of Commerce office and get a copy.
And pick it up.
And when you travel, just give it to the people with whom you stay, or leave it in your hotel room, and somebody else will see what we have and create another part of that experience.
Definitely.
Now, Shana, on the 1st of November, you had this presentation. And I will just sit back and allow you to talk us through the principal areas that we need to be aware of.
Okay.
And what each area is designed to do.
Okay. So we'll go straight to the 3rd page. Next one. Okay. So we had a strategic retreat. Like I mentioned earlier, we had elections earlier, first quarter around March. And then the new board of directors met, and we came up with 4 focus areas that we want to look at, that we feel are important in terms of the role of the chamber, what it's always been, and to strengthen and improve on that. So we have advocacy, which we talked about, which isn't, I want to mention here about being confrontational. Because a lot of times when persons think that you're going to advocate for a particular thing, that, you have to be, there has to be a good cop and a bad cop.
No, it's
but
not.
It starts off where, in terms of advocacy, we see there's an issue. And we feel that, we identify who the persons are that are involved in this, rather than taking on a stance where it's like we're opposing what is being done. It's more productive, as it were, to have a conversation, have a meeting with whoever these stakeholders are and say, okay, these are our concerns. So let's say, for example, business financing. Persons want to know what's available for me as a business startup in terms of getting money. And one of the conversations that we'd like to have will be with the banking association in terms of saying to them, these are the concerns that our members have and prospective businesses in terms of how we get access to financial resources, in order to, whether it's to start a new business or to expand your business, because expansion is just as important as a startup. And do those things. So there's we presented a list which is, no way exhaustive in terms of what we can do there and what we like to see happen. But the quarterly roundtables, those are definitely one of the things that we're going to kick off at the beginning of the year. We want to talk about the cost of business, whether we're looking at freight, payroll, tax, things like what incentives are there for me as a business? Where do I get tax breaks? We don't get any kind of tax breaks here in our current structure as far as code. Or even there's been a talk over the years about a two-tier system where businesses would pay a different rate of duty to an individual coming in, because then we're able to become more, I would say, profitable, because then the cost of business for me to offer you a product, because everything comes in, 99% of everything that we sell in the country, it comes in. So there's high costs to doing business through the freight, through the duty, and still operating costs. We have to pay Social Security. We want to be compliant with all our laws in the country and do what we have to do and pay fair wages. So, as a business person, there's a lot of responsibility and a lot of things that we have to take into consideration that need to be addressed, and make sure that persons, the stakeholders, whether it's in government or statutory bodies, things like electricity, and looking at how we can, minimize the cost or mitigate costs as much as possible in order to have a fair shake in terms of, doing well. So that would be the advocacy side of the house. The other thing that we had up there as an important focus area is the membership benefits. Okay, so again, persons always ask me when I talk to them about joining the chamber, what are my benefits? What do I get for being a member of the chamber? And I listed off some of those before. And what we want to do is we want to have a committee come together, look at the various programs that we already have, and opportunity even for new areas of benefit to membership. That when you pay your annual fee, there are certain things that you get access to. So say, for example, a discount card where we have our, business to business, you go into another business, you get a discount for being a member of the Chamber of Commerce and vice versa. So we do business with each other, and that in return strengthens our business. We also want to provide advertising opportunities, more advertising opportunities through the Chamber for our membership. So things like we want to start a program called Friends of the Regatta. So this would be an opportunity for members to sponsor at the regatta, but also to have marketing opportunities, to have their businesses marketed and advertised. We have a member spotlight that we do once a month. It's mainly online, but we're going to also look at how we can expand that. And the in-room publication, which we mentioned earlier, also to get more persons into it. Because again, it's not just about the hospitality industries, because when persons visit here, we don't know who their background is, because there may be another business person or entrepreneur that wants to do business here, and he now becomes aware through the Experience BVI magazine what types of businesses there are, what opportunities, or who they can do business with. Sure. So those are very important. So this is not just about, that magazine has a lot of potential in terms of, stoking the fire of business and how we expand our economy. Under that focus, we also need to look at business development in regards to the labor force. This was something that was discussed very heavily at the retreat, in terms of it costs businesses to have to import labor. So we need to look at strengthening the pool that we have at home. So we want to have conversations with the college. We want to have conversations with the Ministry of Education around the skill sets that we feel that's needed, and that they're not just developed from at the college level, but actually we go as far back down into the curriculum as we can, understanding you know, education isn't just for the sake of education.
How we can inculcate all of the things that we teach into real life.
Yeah, and we're starting to now see where that that impetus has started, where, you know, things like tourism, there's a tourism class now in the curriculum at high school, as well as financial services. But it's so much varied in terms of jobs, the types of jobs that are available, or career paths that's within these industries or that have to support these industries. And not just teaching our kids about a job, because that's one of the things that, you know, when we do our youth entrepreneurship, we want to make sure we make it clear. We come from a history and a heritage of entrepreneurship. You know, we all forefathers were the businesses that employed other people or employed themselves in order to feed their families. And we want to make sure that those that have that passion for business to become an entrepreneur, that we foster that, you know, and let them know that any opportunity that they see within the local economy is fair game for them, you know, and not wait to be saying, well, okay, I just want to graduate from college and get a job, but that you want to be part of what's happening and going forward from there, right? So those are some of the business development. The expo we have there, that's again going to go from strength to strength. We want to see it get bigger. And a new idea that we have on the table that still needs to be fleshed out would be a business conference. And again, we want to talk about skill development for business leaders now. Because again, as a business person or a business owner, you have a lot of responsibility when you start talking about starting a business and employing other people that are going to depend on you for their livelihood. So it's important that business leaders have the skill sets that they need in order to manage their companies or their businesses, you know, in a productive way.
Now, with all of these programs, if the chamber is to be involved in them, there is a meaningful cost. How does the BVICCHA manage to make these things possible with its resources?
So the main source of revenue is the membership dues, and then in addition to that, we would have now events like the Spring Regatta, the Gala, the business luncheon. All of those are paid activities that they go towards covering the cost of it, as well as putting money towards the general fund for the association. So, and one of the things too that we want to also make sure that we're making clear is that we want to partner. So if there are, you know, other, let's say for example, tourist board, this is a perfect example. There's the guest experience program that they started a few years ago through the development of the Cruise Prayer Project with Disney. And in learning more information about that, what their goal is not just about training, customer service training for hospitality industry, but for all businesses. Because when a tourist comes or a visitor is here, they're not just going to go into a restaurant or interact with a taxi driver. They may go into the store that sells electronics, or they may go into the bank. You know, you never know where they will end up. So customer service experience, a good customer service experience is throughout the territory in every business. So what we've asked them to do is on this trip that they have coming up is to do a particular workshop for our members so that they can either send supervisors and managers who will learn about the program and go back and train their employees, or send employees so that they can get exposed to what is being now considered as the service standard for the territory. So it's not just about, well, when I go into a beauty salon, I have a different experience to, let's say, if I go into a restaurant or if I go into a retail store of any sort. So this is something that we're really excited about in terms of partnering, in terms of, you know, in getting involved with other stakeholders that may have programs that are similar interest to us, and getting the word out now through all means of communication with our members and saying to them, hey, this is definitely an opportunity you want to get involved in and take part in and participate, so that we can help shape the overall agenda as far as what does customer service supposed to look like in our businesses in the territory. Okay. So
now, before we continue, I just want us to give our engineer a thumbs up, because he's really doing a fantastic job.
He's quick
to allow us to make this presentation in a meaningful way. So I'd like to give credit to Navin, our engineer, for the work he's doing. Having said that, we'll take a break, and when we come back, Shana, we will talk more to your development program and how we can then make a pitch for every business person to become a member of the Chamber and Hotel Association. We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Place spaghetti in boiling water, add tomatoes, sweet peppers, and onion, and presto, you have spaghetti marinara.
Having Digicel data is like having the fastest man in the world save you from last-minute dinner dilemmas. Start using Digicel data today. Digicel.
Remember that historic event, World War I? At 11 a.m., on the 11th day of the 11th month, in 1918, World War I ended. On Sunday, 13th of November, the Remembrance Day service begins at 3 o'clock p.m., where paramilitary organizations and ex-servicemen and women will participate in a procession from the entrance of the H. Laverty South Community College grounds to the Eileen L. Parsons Auditorium, where the Remembrance service will follow. You are invited to purchase and wear your poppy for the Remembrance Day service on Sunday, 13th of November.
Alls Marine Air Conditioning and Refrigeration specialize in servicing and repairing units such as Daikin, Marine Air Tech, Mitsubishi, TGM, York. Any type that you call, we can install. We also work on commercial and residential units in houses, boats, cars, and company buildings. If you even need some cool breeze for your dog house or horse stable, we would not hesitate. We are always able. No job is too big or too small for Alls Marine Limited. For our home and restaurant customers, we also service and install all your appliances such as ovens, stoves, washers, dryers, refrigerators, and freezers. You can contact us at 494-4529 or 340-3791 or email us allsmarine@surfbvi.com. Alls Marine is located in Purcell Estate Road, Town, Tortola. Alls Marine Limited, your number one choice.
Police have gone right at the last left turn, you know.
Virgin, the directions are got to go straight.
Oh, you go and tell me about them stupid directions when the map is right here.
Let me see the map. Let me see the map, man.
So now you want to see the map?
Give me the map, man.
Alright.
No, we passed there so already.
Oh.
Make a right, go 100 meters, and that's the destination.
Having Digicel data is like having the fastest man in the world save you from getting lost. Start using Digicel data today. Digicel.
We're back, and something tells me that those of you who are looking at the program tonight may have questions. Please call us at 300-1949, or you can send us a text if you are afraid of being recognized by sending a text to 300-1950, and we will respond to it. Shana will have the answer, and if she doesn't, just like a good professor,
Yes.
I'll find the answer.
We'll get the answer to them.
Now, Shana, talk about the value of the culinary team and which benchmark do we have to maintain?
Okay, so Taste of the Caribbean is, I think it's in June every year, and it's in Florida. And this is basically a regional competition. So we're basically competing against, all the top chefs and bartenders from around the region in terms of, from their top hotels on a national level. So I think persons need to understand those years when we came home with gold and silver, that is a big, big deal. And it puts the BVI on the map from a perspective of terms of, the quality of our food, the quality of our culinary, because persons now who are serious food connoisseurs are going to be looking at, where are the top chefs located at. And when they come to a particular destination, they know they want to go to the restaurant where that particular chef
is at,
prepares at and he works at. So it is something where, again, from even if you're a restaurant or hotel, you can contact the chamber in regards to participating on that team. Again, that's open to whoever so will may come. And what they do in preparation for it, which is what we're currently in, you may have seen the advertisements for the culinary team dinner. So these are practice dinners where they're basically practicing their skills in terms of what the menus are going to be when they go away to the competition. So you actually get a taste of the taste of the Caribbean and what the team is going to do. So the next one's coming up is actually going to be on the 14th of this month. And for more information, you can call the chamber 494-3514 in regards to having a ticket, because these are also fundraisers for the team, because this is also a big, it's costly, but again, the investment in it in terms of the payoff for advertising for the particular businesses involved, as well as the destination is major.
Isn't it true that team members were like Willow Stout and Mr. Molyneux, they now have their own following, as it were?
Even just locally.
Just locally.
So, but on an international stage with like this, it's really major. So persons, again, they would come into the destination and want to know, where these persons work at and support those businesses in that regard.
I remember going to one establishment, and this young man now has his own business, and he was part of that winning team, and the cover of the magazine is on his wall.
Okay. So he's recognizing his own accomplishment. Yeah.
And people realize that if he's good enough to be on that team, his product is good enough for me. So
yeah, so there's a lot of benefits for them as individuals, as a business. Like you're saying, I know of two, Kenneth as well as Imran. They both have their own restaurants now, in regards to coming out of that success that they've had on those teams.
Now, I know we don't have all the time in the world to talk about your program, but if there are a few highlights that you'd like to leave with us, you now have an opportunity to do so.
Okay.
And I hope that I don't have to interrupt you.
No, I'll give you the short version real quick. We talked about some of the things that we did mention in terms of membership engagement. So where we want to have more focus groups. We have business after hours, which are networking opportunities. And we want to also get persons involved as mentors for our youth entrepreneurship program. So there's going to be more information that's going to come out about that. A key thing I want to put out here is that we have a membership survey currently running. And the link is surveymonkey.com/r/BVICCHA. Take you about 10 minutes. We just want to know in terms of how well we're doing, how we've done in the past, and what are some of the needs or the things that members would like to see us do going forward. So that's important that we get that feedback. So we're going to do that for the remainder of the year, so that going into next year when the committees meet, that persons will be able to use that information as a starting point. We're going to put together our advocacy committee, membership committee, PR, and finance. So we also want members that, whether they're in business in those particular areas, so things like, our website, we want to look at how we brand and, move things forward and have a beautiful new public image going forward. So when you see the logo, aha, that's BVICCHA, and we become more recognizable in our community. We want to also have a TV program, so there's more information going to come on that, where we're communicating continually in terms of what's happening with the chamber, what activities we have coming up, and how we're going to start to do more, even more for our members. That's the key thing, that we want to make sure our members are informed and know what's happening. And the last focus point was on institutional strengthening. We need to look at our constitution. We want to build a membership database. One of the things that hinders us a lot in the BVI is a lack of statistical data. So we want to partner. We already had a side discussion, as it were, with the Central Statistics Office in terms of the importance of, even for government, to have statistical data about businesses and know who, for them, who it is they're serving in terms of what types of businesses, the size of businesses, revenue, and these types of things. We also want to improve collaboration, as we mentioned, with local, but as well as regional stakeholders. So we're currently working with the COSME program, which is the small to medium enterprise program that the European Union is funding currently. We're members of the Caribbean Chamber of Commerce, the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, the Caribbean Tourism Organization. So we have a lot of regional opportunities, as it were, to tap into. That, again, is not just for us to try to reinvent the wheel or come up with something new, but to look at what's already existing. One of the interesting things I learned was that in St. Martin, before you get a trade license, you actually have to register for the Chamber of Commerce. It's mandated by law. So that is how important they see that organization being in terms of in their business community. So it's something where we want to raise the level of the chamber's presence, as well as the benefits and the value that we bring, not just to our members as business, but to the wider community. Because again, if the businesses are doing well, the economy is doing well, the country will do well, we have more jobs out there, and persons can provide for their families, and the country can move forward.
Okay, Shana. There's an interesting point that you made in your last slide about data collection and how important it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I look at the U.S. elections and I realize that even at the political level,
Mm-hmm.
people use data to be able to determine what they do, whom they target, and how they bring their messages across.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you on behalf of Speak Your Mind and the management and staff of JTV for the valuable work that the Chamber and Hotel Association does. And we are hoping that in the absence of legislation,
Mm-hmm.
that we can get every business to become a member of the Chamber. But it's a two-way approach.
Yep.
You have to sell
So we give them value for money.
But if they don't know of the value,
Yes.
you won't get their money.
And that's why we're here tonight. So we want to thank you for giving us the opportunity. You came to me right after the presentation and said, would you be willing to come on Saturday night and talk about, what the Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association is planning and moving forward? And I said, definitely, because this is something we don't want to keep as a secret within Nature's Little Secret. But, we need to get this out to the wider community, not just businesses, but also, just the general population as a start in terms of awareness and educating them about what the chamber is
The other
about.
secret is that I used to be a chairman of the Chamber of
Okay.
Commerce. I used to be executive director.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been involved in it for many years.
For
But
many
anyhow,
years. Yes.
can you tell us in the few minutes we have left, when the next trade show is going to be? And you talked about it being at a higher level. What do you have to do? What do we have to do to get it to that higher level?
Well, the trade show, we had it in, it was spring of this year, so it's likely going to be around the same time. There's so many things that goes on, and the calendar for the year that, it's hard to find dates. So I think we're trying to get it fixed that it's going to be around the same time every year. But I think in terms of anything with the Chamber, it's all about the membership and what the membership's participation level is. So the Chamber puts on, we give the opportunity for the trade show, but It's all about the businesses coming in, registering, and participating in the trade show for it to go to that higher level. Because the reaction I've gotten over the years when I participated in my company is like, persons didn't know this particular service was available or a particular product is available, because it's very restrictive sometimes in terms of the cost of marketing your business, especially for small businesses. So it's a very good opportunity, particular for small businesses, to have that showcase, as it were, for those 2 days. That persons can come in and you can have that one-on-one interaction, explaining to them, this is what you do, these are the products that you sell, where you at, and make themselves visible.
If I may offer a suggestion, there are many persons out there with tons of experience. You need to get that information. You need to get your membership familiar with that information, and just arrange for people to meet and talk about what they have to do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you didn't call, you didn't text, but I'm hoping that the information we provided you tonight will be of benefit. If it is not, don't blame me, blame Shana.
You came before me, you can't do that. Mr. Executive Director. He put himself out there, But if you do have any questions later on, you can go to our website, www.bviccha.org. We also have a Facebook page, so it's just facebook.com/BVICCHA, and email info@bviccha.org, or call the office and speak with Miss Avril Alexander. She will give you all the information you want.
She does a wonderful job.
And the membership form, you can get that on the website as well. So make sure you go on and you download that tomorrow, fill it out
tonight,
and drop it off on Monday. So we definitely, again, any size business, any type of business, you're more than welcome to become a member of the Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association.
Okay, Shana, thanks for your participation. Thank
you for having
input.
us.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our show, Speak Your Mind. We hope that we did speak our mind tonight, and it is now for you and whomever to respond. And we're hoping that government will take the opportunity to dialogue with the chamber. If you did, you'd avoid a lot of the mistakes that we make in government. Let us help you to make the policies that will be meaningful, and have a good weekend. And I hope you enjoyed the rains that we've had. Plant something, stick something in the ground, it will grow. And we will see you next week for another edition of Speak Your Mind. Good night.
What kind of party this?
Them they bring the music.
Seriously?
Nothing no bother we, 'cause we stress-free.
Having Digicel data is like having the fastest man in the world save you from party disasters. Start using Digicel data today. Digicel.